What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good evening, wherever you are, and whatever time it is. And welcome back to yet another video with you, man. Immersiaholic, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another online battle for the Divided to Power Overhaul mod for Total War Rome 2. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have Rome taking on the Odrysian Kingdom. This is going to be a pretty badass matchup. These two factions have very interesting rivalry happening, where in battles the Odrysians actually counter the Romans perfectly. However, on the campaign map, the Romans counter the Odrysians very nicely. It's actually quite an interesting dynamic. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this online battle. However, I will not be participating in this online battle. Instead, it is sent in by viewer Kalogero. Many of you will have remembered his name from previous online battles that he is sent to the channel. Highly appreciate it, my brother. He is playing as the Romans, and he is playing against the notorious God, who will be playing as the Odrysians up there in the distance. Some mods that are being used will be linked down below as always, in addition to the reshade preset I'm using while recording this. Feel free to go down there, check out all the sub mods. If you have any questions, feel free to comment on the video or any other video where I'm using sub mods. Ask questions away, or go to the modders page for each individual someone and ask them. Generally, the modders are very helpful when they are available. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started by going over the army composition of Rome. Then we'll check out the Odrysians, and then we will check out the battle itself. Timestamps will be down below as always. Let's do this. So all I know about this battle is that my man Kalogero is trying to play a proper Polybian style army. So that is to say that he will not be using any Marian or Imperial troops, so no Roman legionnaires necessarily. Instead, he'll be using Hastati, Principes, Triarii, and all of the auxiliary and AOR units that go along with that kind of time period. God, I don't know anything about his army composition, and I also do not know who will win. I specifically don't want to know who will win in any other online replays I do, just because it is a lot more fun for me to commentate. At least I think it is. I really enjoy it anyway. Hopefully you guys do. But just as a very quick reminder, if you would like to send in your own online battle, please do so via Discord. You can just DM me directly, send the replay and a brief description about the battle. Or what you could do instead is email me at immersiaholic@gmail.com. Send me your replay file. If you don't know how to do it, I'll be more than happy to help you out. Just let me know. And you can have your battles featured on the channel with any appropriate links linked down in the description, of course. But anyway, starting with Rome. On the far left-hand flank, we have the Polybian Reserve Spearmen, aka the Rorarii. Man, I can never pronounce their name. But anyway, we have 300 men strong militia spearmen. No javelin, unfortunately, for them, so that's going to be a big setback, something that might be a little bit overlooked by some people. We then have Numidian mercenary horse skirmishers. Just a one unit, though, 120 men. Arguably one of the best skirmisher-specific cavalry units in the game. Very, very fast, very interesting to see how it will be used in this. We then have a military tribunes unit right here. This is a general's bodyguard unit, although Kalogero actually has two units of this. So one of them is the general, and another, I guess for the sake of this battle, will just be basically another consul, perhaps, serving with the army, or one of the tribunes, something like that. But this is just another general's personal bodyguard. So it's a pretty solid unit though, not bad. Mainly tailored towards melee combat in prolonged engagements. Then we have the center of the Roman formation. Let's start at the front and work our way back. So in the first line we have 4 units of Velite skirmishers, of course. Javelinmen belonging to the Romans. Not the worst in melee attack and defense, but it's also still not ideal. You want to be avoiding melee combat with them if you can. In the second line, though, we have some Hastati. We have a mixture of Hastati. Continuing, I'll try to face this way. Going left to right, we have some Samnite Hastati. We have one unit of them there. We have another unit here. To the right of them, though, we then just have regular Roman hastati. These guys are Roman citizens, thus they are named just hastati. 2 units of those. In the third line of the center, right along here, we then have the Principes. We have Samnite Principes on the left, 1 unit, 2 units of that, and then we have regular Romans on the right-hand flank, 1 unit there and 1 unit there. So you can see that the army so far, at least in the center, has been split in 2, where you have these Samnite allies on the left-hand side of the Roman army, regular Roman citizens on the right-hand side. In the rear, of course, we have 1 unit of Triarii, one of the most best elite tier units for the era, at least. It definitely gets better as you get into the Marian and Imperial era, but I mean, the Triarii are pretty iconic. We then have another Rorarii unit. Goodness, what a tongue twister. In the rear, so another militia spearman unit up here. And then moving over here to the right-hand flank at the front, another Rorarii unit. We then have the general himself over here, who is just a Equites Constellares unit, aka the military tribune, personal bodyguard. Only 100 men in these units, though. And then we have auxiliary camel riders. While they are technically auxiliaries and thus belong in the Marian era, I mean, it makes sense that you can get camels in the Polybian era as well. Especially if we're, you know, for the sake of roleplay, considering that this army is after the defeat of Carthage, where Rome has access to desert-style troops. But anyway, that is the Roman legion that is facing off against the Odrysian menace. Now let's go ahead and check out the Odrysians, and then we'll get into the battle. Alrighty, everybody, starting from left and working our way to the right, we have cavalry for the Odrysians. 2 units of skirmisher cavalry. These guys are known as the Thracian medium cav. Very, very solid skirmisher cavalry unit. Has good melee combat stats as well. The main downfall, though, was only an armor of 13. Still very solid, 120 men per unit. So when you're playing against the Odrysians, this is a kind of classic unit you will see them be used with. The Odrysians like to skirmish, and they do it with their fast-moving cavalry, as this has a speed of 8, and they also have more cav that have access to javelins. Working our way further along the battle lines, though, in front of the cavalry, 2 units of the long spear peltis, brand new unit to the Odrysian roster in the 1.3 update. Interesting unit, no javelins and only 200 men and no formation attack, so primarily acts as a smaller Thurios spear style unit, although it has slightly better stats than the Thurios spears. We then have the main front line of the Odrysians, one major line full of late Thracian infantry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of them. Late Thracian infantry are now the core of what you should expect when you fight against an Odrysian army, especially in online battles. Very, very good unit, 300 men per unit. Fantastic attack and defense, and they have armor piercing damage on top of a regular 23 weapon damage, so they have massive amounts of damage considering their size. 20 armor, so the armor has been adjusted since the initial beta of the 1.3 patch. The armor being at 20 has definitely helped balance them out a little bit. Still an incredibly strong unit, though, very, very strong. And they even have their own discipline ability. So because of that, these guys will last very long in a fight. They're going to do a lot of damage to any units, such as Hastati and Principes units that they'll be facing, of course. Behind them in the second line, though, we have Colonist Pikemen, another brand new unit that the Odrysians use in the 1.3 update. Interesting unit. I haven't seen this in combat too much besides my campaign overview testing, and even then I didn't get to use this as much as I would like, so it's going to be interesting to see how GOD can handle using pikes today. I know he doesn't really like using pikes too much, so going to be interesting to see how he handles it. Behind them we then have 2 sets of Thracian peltas. The Thracians have some of the best peltas out there. Why? Because of their damage and melee attack. Melee attack is at 9, not the biggest number in the world, but this is a very cheap peltas unit, and they have a massive damage of 7 armor piercing combined with 21 weapon damage. That is pretty redonkulous for a skirmisher unit. So these guys will do very well charging into the rear of troops such as Romans. So these guys will be perfect at countering the Roman formation. Moving back towards this little blob right here, we then have 2 units of the Thracian Rome Fire Warriors, of course, an absolute classic that you will see used by Odrysian players. We then have Thracian Archers, just the one single unit, nothing special about them really, and they do not have the same armor piercing damage like the other skirmishers do. A Thracian Noble on Fire unit for the general, which is the main way you can get Thracian Noble units now. The Thracian Noble on Fire unit, I should say. It's the only way. So very, very interesting. Gonna be interesting to see if Kalogero will target the general or not. And then on the far right hand flank of the Odrysians, we have the final 2 units. 2 sets of Thurio Shock Cavalry is what they're called. However, one cheeky thing about these Shock Cav units, supposedly Shock Cav, is that they're not actually really Shock Cav. I mean, they have a good charge bonus of 48, but they have a good melee attack of 9 and a whopping defense of 15. These bad boys will charge into combat, do well on the charge, and they will last for a long time in combat. In addition, they have 23 armor, which is pretty solid, a speed of 7, so they're not all that slow, base morale of 45, very solid, but then one kind of hidden thing about them is that they actually have an ammunition of 4. These bad boys are actually skirmisher cavalry, at least a mixture of shock, melee, and skirmisher cav. These guys can kind of do it all. They don't do any of them the best, but they can basically do any kind of role you want them to a pretty average to slightly above average degree. These guys may catch Kalogero off guard. It's going to be interesting to see how he reacts. But anyway, that is the Odrysian roster. That is the Roman roster. Let's go ahead and press play, and we'll skip forward a little bit to where the armies are about to clash. So the battle will begin with some skirmishing. The Thracian skirmisher cav, or the medium cav, are sent forward, splitting apart some of these spearmen, trying to drag them out of formation, possibly try to get some rear charges on them. Not going to happen, but they are outmaneuvering them to try and get some free shots as well on the Roman cavalry. And then on the far left hand side of the Romans, their Numidian cavalry will be moving forward, trying to drag out the Thracian cavalry and try to get some early kills in the game, in the match I should say. But we will skip ahead a little bit further because there's essentially just a fair bit of cat and mouse happening, nothing too severe. Both units, both sets of units are just retreating and trying to get a few little cheeky kills when and where they can. So let's skip ahead a little bit to where the main engagement actually begins. Alrighty everybody, here we go. The Romans are initiating an all-out charge. The general's coming forward to try and help out, backed up by spearmen. The Roman main line is charging across the entire board. They have thrown their javelins already. They actually missed a fair few of their shots, but that's not the worst thing in the world, although it will put them at a bit of a disadvantage. Right hand flank of the Romans is holding, not trying to push forward too fast, too quickly. And the Hastati are charging forward. They will get countercharged by the Odrysians in most of the engagements. And one thing you will notice is that immediately upon being engaged, each of these Hastati units is being put into defensive formation by Kalogero. If you look very closely, you can see the yellow icon. We hover over it, says defensive formation. So the morale and defense will be improved quite substantially. However, their attack will be lowered and they will do less damage as a result. In addition, you can see right here quite easily, the Odrysian units are wrapping around the Hastati units in just a one-on-one engagement. So that's also going to give some more free kills to the Odrysians. Odrysians are probably going to win this main line engagement unless something pretty big comes in for the Romans. They do have a large skirmisher contingent right here. They're not really getting involved yet, obviously not on fire at will. There is some Roman cavalry charging in, but they're about to get countercharged by the Odrysians. And then on the far left-hand flank, the Numidians of the Romans have been countercharged. They were caught off guard while Kalogero was micromanaging elsewhere. Only 22 kills and they're chased off the field of battle. Not how he wants to use them, I would imagine. Right-hand flank of the Romans is okay. The spear pelters have been sent to charge into the militia units of the Bavaria. But because of that, though, the Roman cavalry now has a little bit more free reign. So the generals coming out here will try to come in, get some charges, and they have the camels out here as well, try and support. They can come in and help out, or they can come out here and try to deal with the Odrysian cavalry. And the Odrysians are kind of all over the place with their cav. One unit here, one unit in the Roman backlines, and then 2 more units over here. So they're kind of everywhere, which is difficult for God to micromanage, but it's also hard for Kalogero to counteract that. Got to be very interesting to see if he can handle it. Right now, the pressure is on the Romans, though, to try and make something. He is not going to win this frontline engagement. The Romans will do okay. They'll probably kill 80 to 100 men of the Odrysians, but the Odrysians have an extra 30% more men than what the Romans do. Remember, they have 300 as opposed to 200 compared to the Romans. So, gonna be very hard for the Romans to try and make something out of this, I imagine. We also have the pikemen of the Odrysians being held back in reserve, perhaps a little bit too long. You don't want them stuck in the late game, as they can easily just be outflanked and ran around by the Roman units. So perhaps that will come back to bite God later on. I'm very surprised he's using pikemen, but props to him for trying. It's not easy to do that in online battles. Doing very good micromanagement with his skirmisher cav. Gonna be surprised if God doesn't get any kind of micromanagement issues, although the Romans are actually doing quite well with their cav. They're coming out, kind of ganging up on the Odrysians. Look at this. The camels are actually chasing down cavalry, and an 87 strong unit of the Odrysians is routing off the field just because they're being chased by camels. Wow, that's very interesting. The camels do have a scare effect against enemy cavalry, so perhaps that's why. There is another Odrysian unit coming out to try and save them, but it might be too little too late now. This unit over here was caught off guard, so we are starting to see those micromanagement issues come in. God just has too much to micro right now, so it's expected that he's going to get some of his cavalry caught. Camels are still chasing that unit off the field. Oh, that is actually a big victory for him. The main front line of the Romans is not doing too well, although he does have the Principes coming forward now, and they will try to back up the units that are about to rout. Right hand side of the Romans is not looking too good. Their Principe unit right here got hammered. Not very good for them. Velites is starting to get a little bit more involved. They seem to be targeting the enemy pikemen right now, but they're also charging into melee combat, it seems, or they're about to. Yes, they're trying to outflank the pikemen, but they're going to get countercharged, thus they will be routed pretty easily. At least they should be. Meantime, because the Roman cavalry kind of teamed up on this right-hand flank of the Odrysians, at least where the enemy cav was, they're actually now chasing them off the field. Very interesting, although the camels down here do get countercharged, and the Odrysian cavalry that was routing earlier has returned from routing, so they're going to come in and help out right there. The camels will die, but they have really dealt a lot of damage to the Odrysians, and they've nullified 2 Odrysian cavalry units for the price of 1 cavalry unit of the Romans. Although they will be back in the fight, obviously, but very interesting. Basically, what Kalogero has done is he's forced this engagement to be purely about infantry. And although the Romans have very good infantry, though, the Odrysians have the perfect counter to Roman infantry, so I don't think that's going to be enough. He needs some kind of advantage that will help him overcome the armor-piercing damage of the Odrysians. And there is still 1 more cavalry unit right here of the Odrysians. Man, this is not looking good for the Romans. They're starting to send in the Velites into melee combat, as I said earlier. They've already lost some more of their Velites units. They're getting surrounded by the Odrysians. Even right here they're surrounded. The Rome fire warriors are getting into combat. When they do come in, they are doing quite well. We have the general over here who's just attacking straight up, taking very few losses. How many kills is he at? 70. Very impressive, but very expected for such a strong unit. The Romans seem to be kind of clumping up right here. Perhaps they will need to try and form a Roman little square, a box or something. The camels actually come back from routing? No way. Wow. Oh my goodness, I can't believe God did not chase him off the field. Ooh, that could be a big mistake. Yep, you see that move order coming in. Kalogero sees it. Whoa. That could really come back to haunt him. I thought he was going to chase him off the field. I guess not. The Romans are actually lasting. Surely the Romans won't bring this back. Look how many Odrysian units we have. The Romans are surrounded in multiple sections. They're about to lose another unit right here. What's this, a Rurarii? They do have their Triarii unit right here. They've lost about 28 men, but they've killed 106. Very impressive. Triarii are constantly a source of bewilderment to me. They seem to do really well when I don't expect them to, and then they do really badly when they should do well. So I need to probably try to use them more in my own online battles, but very interesting. The morale of the Romans is certainly keeping them in the fight, although the Roman general still seems to be around. Although here he is right here, he's about to be routed, if not killed, straight outright. It is noteworthy that the Romans are using the flying wedge ability, so it gives them increased charge speed and a charge bonus as well. Yeah, speed and just charge bonus overall. But that's it. Here come the camels coming back into the fight. They might try and knock out some of these pelters who are coming back from routing. Although the Odrysians do have their cavalry left still. 2 units of cav there, 1 unit of cav here. Another unit of cav here. Oh my goodness. Wait, what? Why did this unit just rout? 45 men. They're tired and they just shattered off the battlefield. Holy crap. What is going on? Oh, I was wrong about that. There's only 2 units of Odrysian cavalry right here. What the hell happened there? We're seeing some very interesting routes coming in. These Principes, though, they're getting recharged in a beautiful manner from the Odrysians. They are not going to last without some support. It's just starting. No, Principes coming back into the fight. Another general's bodyguard is still here, but it is not a general, so it won't have the same abilities. Roman units are returning from fleeing. They haven't been chased off the battlefield, so they will come back into the fight. Another unit out here coming back. Roman cavalry coming back at 29 men. Wow. That is a testament to just how strong morale can be in a fight. 29 out of 100 men. These guys are very tired. It is the general's personal bodyguard unit, but they are actually coming back from routing. That is super interesting. They're actually going to recharge the Odrysians potentially. Is there any attack order from the Odrysians? No, there isn't. Although the Romans don't get the best charge. Odrysians finally give the counter charge, but now Principes right here are routing. Big loss for the Romans right there. The troops who are returning to the fight, though, will try to form up a small battle line. Surprised he doesn't try to bring the Triarii over. He needs to keep his men together if they're going to outlast the Odrysians. General's bodyguard right here trying to chase down the Odrysian cavalry. Will they get the charge? They're close, 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 close. Yes, they're getting connections. Not the biggest connections, but they're getting some, and they have Triarii nearby. Holy crap, 163 men, 202 kills? What? These Triarii are insane. How impressive.
As you command.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible right now. They do have the raised banner ability. Oh, perhaps this general does give abilities. No, surely not. No, he is. Wait, is this the general? Did I confuse it? Could have sworn I didn't. The other general unit had the star, but anyway, what we're seeing is the Romans outlasting the Odrysians in a morale fight. Camels are coming back in. They just knocked out an Odrysian unit in a one-on-one charge. Oh no, this unit should have been there to help. They could have smashed those camels off the field. Holy crap, the Romans are bringing this back, guys. There is a noble on fire warrior unit here. 400 kills. What? They've only lost 12 men and they've killed over 400 Romans with a single run fire unit. That is absolutely disgusting. No way. What a strong unit. This is what the Velites should have been targeting. These are on fire warriors. They are just lethal, disgusting. Oh my goodness. 439 kills like it's nothing. I don't know. The Romans don't have this in the bag though. Odrysians still have that general, just doing serious damage. Principe unit is coming back into the fight. 2 units of cavalry are coming in. Ooh, a bit of a mismicromanagement here with the camels. Not good. They're getting attacked by spearmen. Although the Odrysian cavalry charging in, and they're about to get countercharge. Ooh. Camels are shattered off the field of battle. Oh no! No way, the Romans are gonna lose it now. You're kidding me. Dude, it looked like they were bringing it back. Look at the waivers coming in. If the Odrysian general dies, the Romans could bring it back, but no, they have a rout right here. They're about to get more. They have units wavering. What? This unit stabilizes somehow? This unit's about to rout. This one does. Roman general's trying to do a recharge, but if he moves away too far, these Romans are going to rout. Odrysian unit right here routes. Holy crap, this is so close. No way. Oh no. Are you kidding me? 1 infantry unit, 1 cav unit per side, but the Romans are weaker. And the Rome fire warriors of the Odrysians just cannot be stopped. Over 570 kills. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. It's over. This noble Rome fire warrior unit could have just tanked it out on their own, it seems. What a disgusting unit. These guys were designed, they were born to be Roman killers, and they're doing it with extremely disturbing precision. What a unit. What a beast. They're unstoppable. Oh my goodness. Somehow the Odrysians bring it back, just as it seemed like the Roman legion was going to outlast them. Massive round of applause to both gentlemen for the online battle. That was a close one. Anyway, let's go very quickly into the statistics screen, and then we'll end the video there. So here we are at the statistics screen. What a battle that was. The Polybian Roman legions were trying to take on the Odrysian menace, and they very, very nearly did. The Principes of the Roman legion did very well across the board, all getting around the 150 kill plus mark. I would say that the Principes should have done better. Like 137 kills is solid. They should have done better, except for the fact that they were playing against the Odrysians. And as I said at the beginning of this battle, the Odrysians countered the Romans perfectly on a 1-to-1 basis. They have the damage to break through the Roman armor and hopefully kill the Romans before their morale kicks in and makes them outlast the Odrysians. So you can clearly see the Principes did very, very well. The Hastati actually did fantastic. I'm very surprised they did as well as they have. 150 kills plus across the board for the Hastatis, nothing to scoff at. The rest of the Roman legion did very well, to be honest. But there is one kind of failure on the Roman legion's part, well, 2 actually, that are kind of combined into one, and that is a skirmishing component. The Roman legion have 4 sets of velites, which is a lot of skirmisher units that are pretty cheap, and they're not going to be great in melee combat. The velites came in, 1 unit somehow got 269 kills supposedly. These stats aren't always accurate, keep in mind. This is an online replay that was sent to me, so these stats aren't necessarily constantly accurate, but it's pretty close. And so the majority of these velites did not do all that well, considering they took up so many slots. Almost a quarter of the legion ended up killing just over 350 or so, more around 400 men, over 400 Odrysians. Sorry, a bit of a brain fart there. But, which doesn't sound too terrible, but when almost a quarter of your army is relying on getting so many kills, and to be honest, most of those kills came from just this one unit getting 269 kills somehow. Honestly, it's a bit of a fluke. I just don't think these velites were ever really going to give the kind of return that Kalogero needed. The only way they could is if they wiped out the Rome Fire warriors, which they didn't. One of the regular Rome Fire warriors got 281 kills. The general coming in with 611, although I swear I just said it had 700. But either way, the high kills on the Rome Fire warriors indicate that they were not killed quickly. They weren't killed quickly enough, and obviously the general wasn't killed at all, which is what these velites should have been targeting. That's what you want to do when you bring skirmishers against a faction like the Odrysians, who do have these elite, just ruthless infantry units that will cut through your armored units. If they didn't kill the Rome Fire warriors, then they had to kill the cavalry. The cavalry of the Odrysians, two of the units, the Furios units, didn't do very well at all. Bit of a waste, but I mean, not that God, I mean, shouldn't have brought them. He should have. He just got a little bit unlucky with that. And he also was countered quite nicely. The Roman cavalry in this case was pretty good. Very creative of Kalogero to bring in another general's bodyguard unit. The camels actually proved to be very, very useful. Almost won him the battle in the end there. But then we come down to the second issue of the Romans, which is the Numidian cavalry. These guys are not necessarily all that cheap, and getting them just out with 22 kills, nowhere near good enough. So really, despite the Odrysians having, about 400 more men, I mean, it was a lot closer than what I would have expected. Perhaps if the velites were either fewer, or if they just had perhaps better targeting. I mean, they did seem to nullify the pikemen of the Odrysians, which is nice, but I would be more worried about these Rome Fire warriors, because they're just so disgusting. That or the cavalry. And the cavalry was dealt with, but I mean, at the end of the day, they did come back and win the battle as well for the Odrysians. It wasn't just the Rome Fire warriors necessarily. The cavalry of the Odrysians came in, and God does very good with his micromanagement of Cav. Kalogero does just as good as well. So when you're going up against an opponent though who has good micromanagement with skirmisher Cav, it's going to be a tough day. But regardless, Kalogero did really, really well considering the army he was facing. I think God picked the perfect faction to counter Rome. I'm not sure how that was discussed between the two of them. The only thing that I might question about the Odrysian army is the pikemen. I don't think they were necessary. And in an online battle, I probably wouldn't ever use the pikemen as the Odrysians. They're not a bad unit per se, but you could just bring more armor-piercing units to the fight, or other types of units that can help your armor-piercing units get more kills. Not that it was a bad selection, and I'm sure God wanted to try out these new units, but you know, if I were to critique anything about the Odrysian army, it would probably just be that. The archers as well of the Odrysians didn't seem to really do all that much, and I didn't recall seeing any flaming shot happen. It's possible there was some, but I didn't see any. If there was flaming shot though, then a single archer unit can definitely be worth it. Thracian late infantry did really, really well. I'm surprised some of them didn't get more kills. But they did great considering they were going up against Roman infantry. They cut through them, they lasted quite a while, and they allowed the cavalry of the Odrysians to also come in and have a pretty damaging effect on the flanks of the Romans. They got some very nice charges and really hammered the Roman cavalry. I'm surprised the Odrysians didn't have a more decisive victory, to be honest. So testament to Kalogero holding off the Odrysian menace as best he could, but this Roman legion will not be making it back from the Danube region. GG's to both gentlemen. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I shall see you in the next one.